Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, likewise.
Yep, can hear you just fine.
Fantastic.
So, coming to you from my house, I had to make a last-minute venue change.
Fair enough. I'm eating bread. What are you eating?
I'm eating salad and kebab.
There you go.
So we're just going to wait for a couple more people to join us. People usually like to start a little late, so we'll just wait for them.
Well, I mean, do you want me to hold on to my questions until everybody shows up for the benefit of the group, or do you want to just dive?
I'll say we just wait a minute or two, and you know, we get like 3, 4, or 5 people, we'll get started.
Yeah, I'd say for photography, your sense for lighting the subject is just way off right now.
I know, right? I'm not very content with my options at this point. But deal with what you got. You can backlight and crappy camera. I switched to a good camera, but it just it would cause more problems. So I literally just got home and turned everything on, so doing my best.
There you go. Yeah, that was great.
Sorry. I was going
to. Am I on camera?
Oh, that was worth it. Just that.
Well, I don't know where everyone is, but we'll go ahead and get started. For people that are joining us a little late, if anyone's watching the beginning part, what you can do is, if you're on the YouTube page, you can add comments and add questions. If you want to join us in video, just check your email if you submitted your email on the Facebook page, and I will be more than happy to answer your questions either via the live video chat or the Google YouTube chat page. Okay. So Cameron, we'll just go ahead and start with you. Ask away.
Really, actually, I only have 3 questions. I'm still in, is it Unit 2? No, Module 2. So I'm doing the niche work right now. We're just about to get into it. And I've really, actually, kind of personally already identified a niche for myself, which is really looking at commercial portraiture, fashion, and beauty. Those are all somewhat tangential or close to each other, at least close enough. I'm probably going to work to narrow it in even more as I go along. But something that I've been trying to do recently and actually not had a lot of luck with is trying to reach out to other fashion photographers in San Diego and try to introduce myself and maybe get a half an hour of their time, talk to them about their experiences, coming up in the industry, and just maybe try to sponge some information, and then tangentially maybe try to work into a situation where I could offer to help on a shoot, or just kind of slave for them here or there, and maybe just not exactly get myself in a position to do like an apprenticeship, but just be able to see how they work in a shoot and things like that, and really just kind of skidding out, like not getting any feedback from anybody, just a lot of white noise in the email traffic. I was wondering
you haven't got a single response?
No. I've reached out to about 6 or 7 different people.
Send me an email that you sent to them. So forward me one of the emails you sent, and I'll be able to tell you what was sent.
Okay. So I guess the question really was, like, do you have any pointers or suggestions on, how to make those kinds of introductions, or maybe different circles to run in to kind of put myself in a better position to maybe, get those kinds of experiences that I'm trying to find?
So essentially, how to get in front of people that can add more value to you and give you some pointers, tips, tricks, and help you kind of want to say skip ahead, but like learn maybe a little faster and learn from other people's mistakes. So I'm really glad you asked this because I get contacted all the time. Hey, Pete. Thanks for joining us. Can you hear us, Peter? What's going on there? Seems like you're struggling, Peter. He's just clicking aimlessly. I'm sure you'll join us soon. So, to answer your question, I get people contacting me all the time about, can I intern for you? Can I work for you? Can I shoot for free for you? Can I, assist for you? And, a lot of people, a lot of professional photographers that are, one, easy to find. So people that you would find searching online would more likely, be often hit up, especially if they are talented or if they have like a following of some kind on social media. So it's going to be harder to get those people's attention because they're already being hit up by multiple people. Pete, I'm going to mute you because there you go. Getting a lot of feedback.
I have no.
So when you want to talk, just what was that? Oh, he just finally talked and I muted him. Let me finish answering Cameron's question. I'll bring you back in. So to kind of dive into things a little bit more specifically, the best couple ways to get someone's attention in this regard is think of something a little more in depth outside of just, can I assist for you? Can I do this for you? Because at the end of the day, I don't want someone to come in and assist for me. Because, one, I have no idea who you are. You're probably not any good. You probably don't know how to assist. You probably, have never been on a real photo shoot or anything like that. I'm saying you in the context of anyone that's contacted me in the past. That's my assumption.
It's fine. It's applicable.
And it's too much of a risk because there's no value for me in it. And from the photographers that you're contacting, that's probably how they see it. There probably is just no value. You get, you as the person contacting them get an immense amount of value. Like 30 minutes with a professional just on a shoot or, in conversation can teach you so much and help you skip light years ahead. But it's just the value is not often reciprocated. So this is where you got to take a unique approach. You have to dive deep into, this photographer's world and be able to find something that you can relate to with them, build a little bit of rapport, and give them value before you ask for value. Because here's the email I usually get. Hey, I think your work is so great. You seem like a great person. I would love to learn from you. Can I pick your brain, or can I work for you? Can I just be a fly on the wall for you? And then like I'll do anything for you. I'll do whatever you want me to do. I'll do it. I'm like, great. You have not expressed any abilities or skills that are of interest to me, because you obviously are not a professional photographer and know how to handle gear and grip and lighting and all that kind of stuff, because you're asking for me to show you how to do that. And there's, for professional working photographers, they don't have a lot of time to give on that end unless they're making money from it. So, with that in mind, you need to dive into each person you want to contact and really find out why you want to learn from that person. Express to them what is it specifically that you want to learn. Like, what is it about them that makes them unique, that makes you want to learn from them, and being very, very specific. And then being very specific as to how you can offer them a very specific amount of value. So value could be paying them for their time. It could be doing something for them, like looking where their website lacks. Maybe their website lacks in content. Maybe you can say, hey, I'm a good content writer, and I can write your About Me section and make it better. Or, how about I see that you are involved in a nonprofit organization. What if I donated money to that organization? Or what if I volunteered for that organization that you're passionate about? Or, find unique ways that are actually of interest to the person. Try to figure out this person as much as you can. And when you start off the email saying, hey, I noticed that you follow so-and-so organization. I actually believe in that organization as well, and I volunteer. I'm looking to volunteer in that organization. I would love to like talk to you about that organization as well as your passion in photography. You're touching two of their interest points. Like you're touching on whatever they're passionate about outside of photography, and being able to offer value to something they care about or to them specifically. So people that contact me asking how they can get involved with like Big Brothers Big Sisters is going to get my time sooner than someone that just wants to pick my brain on photography, because I already have hundreds of thousands of people asking me about photography. But someone that wants to talk to me about Big Brothers or an organization I care about or a cause I care about is going to get a lot more attention from me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I think one of my hurdles that I'm going to have over the next 6 months is, well, the program is very much geared towards the business component. I think, part of my photography I need to bring along is, understanding how to manage larger shoots better, understanding how to work with different models, improving my posing and direction for, the talent, and yeah, just kind of managing shoots of that magnitude, which is why I'm trying to reach out to these kinds of photographers and really just pick their brain. But your approach makes sense, which is actually really working around, the objective to kind of get there.
Yeah, and you don't want to be like kind of bait and switch. You don't want to say, oh, I want to talk about your organization, and then spend the whole time talking about their business.
Yeah.
Then they'll feel you're shady and they won't give you anything. So it's a fine balance you have to find to be offering them value, intrigue them some way, and then be clear with why you're contacting them.
Mm-hmm.
And when you hit that balance, people want to talk to you. You end up usually doing very well and get very good response rates when you hit people with a high amount of value. And you're really well thought through. Like you're only hitting up 6 people. It's not like you're trying to hit up 1,000 photographers. Like you can spend time contacting one person at a time.
So, in lieu of making contact with other professional photographers, which is obviously like option one, are there other resources that you would recommend looking into, or resources that you have access to that kind of cover some of the topics we're talking about, like large shoot management, talent management, posing, that kind of stuff?
Should I say that one more time?
Sorry, I was saying kind of along the lines of what we've been talking about, and in lieu of working with other professional photographers or getting their time and picking their brains a little bit more, are there any materials that you would recommend, or other coursework, or materials you have access to that kind of cover these topics that I'm trying to kind of plug gaps in my skill set, which is large shoot management, posing, working with models, that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm shooting regularly now with models that I'm finding through like Model Mayhem, so obviously there's a lot of trial by error and kind of just learning by doing that's happening right now. And I'm using YouTube, web resources, posing guides that I can find, things like that. But I was just wondering, from your perspective, if there's anything that you found to be particularly helpful.
Well, there's a lot of things out there. More specifically, in terms of managing big shoots, I know something that I can help you with is, when we have big rentals at the studio, we usually have 1 to 2 kind of like bigger rentals at the studio where they pull in a lot of stuff and they shoot for 2 or 3 days or something like that. I can invite you to kind of hang out at the studio, come check it out, see what's going on. Again, up to the discretion of the actual person there. They obviously are going to be busy, so you're not going to be able to really talk to them very much. But during their lunch break or something like that, you can maybe try to set up a conversation, tell them you're a student of mine, and that this is kind of where you want to go, and you're catching them like during a downtime, their lunch or their dinner break or something like that, and it could be an opportunity to chat with them.
Yeah,
so when I see those kind of opportunities, I'll let you know. Right now we don't have anything on the books, but so there's one. Another kind of resource. I think I haven't personally looked into too much of that particular stuff. A lot of it comes through, actually doing it, obviously, but I'm trying to think of particular resources that come to mind.
It's fine. You could just back burner it, and if you think of anything, you just let me know.
All right, I will. I know there's some stuff out there. I just haven't, I personally haven't dived into it recently, so it's not fresh in my mind. But when I come up on something, it'll kind of trigger a reminder to contact you and share it with you.
All right. And then my last question for you really actually goes back to the website review we had last week. We were trying to get face-to-face on that, but for some reason we couldn't get the technology to connect. So obviously I did a lot of work to my website. I changed a lot of things. I actually changed a ton of things while you were critiquing it. I was just pretty much live editing on the fly. So I think it looks a lot better, so I appreciate the feedback. One question I did have for you is my portfolio is continuing to grow to cover the area of photography that I'm interested in doing in the future, which is like commercial portraiture, fashion, and beauty, like I talked about at the beginning. But in the meantime, I still have some of this other content, like I have some of the event photography work that I've done that's in there as a categorical inclusion, and then I also kind of have this etc. section, which is blue angels, honeybees over flowers, just random other pictures that I've worked on. At this point, would you recommend keeping that stuff in and then just kind of phasing it out as I continue to build the main body of the portraiture, or would you just recommend just killing it all together and just getting completely focused?
I would say I don't think you have enough to kill it completely.
Yeah.
Because you have like your live event stuff, you have your etc. I don't know. Like, here's the thing. Here's where a lot of commercial photographers can get their start, is by pursuing a personal project, like a really laser-focused personal project. Like I'm looking at this one, like kind of a wine vineyard, like black and white, high contrast shot. Maybe you fall in love with vineyards with high contrast shots or something like that. Something that you want to document the world from a different perspective. Most commercial photographers, people that usually take off, have some kind of personal project. That's something that I've noticed amongst all well-known or just well-established commercial photographers, is they do a personal project for themselves. Now, it kind of coincides for them, but also is applicable to the business, because it's by doing this that you really define a style for a very particular thing. Some people do photojournalism type stuff. Some people do really intensive like layers and editing and stuff like that. And then some just document people, like different types of people, and they're getting hired for all kinds of different work. Because someone finds it interesting and says, wow, that's a really cool personal project, you're a great photographer, can we hire you for this? Or it's in direct relation to maybe something that you do. I know, I forgot their names, so I've seen all kinds of personal projects, from documenting different types of personalities, people with different disabilities, people, street signs, traffic signs, police officers, candid photojournalism styles of police officers in action, like all kinds of different personal projects that don't make them any money, but it's because they're going out there shooting something that they're passionate about. And I know one guy does elevators, shoots elevators everywhere he goes. If he sees an elevator, he takes a shot of it, and he makes these elevators look kind of interesting. And it's just an interesting thing that kind of people remember him by. So, and that's how he started the conversation with me. He's like, "Oh, I shoot elevators." So I
remember that.
Yeah. And I'm talking about it now. So it's when you're doing those kind of personal projects, it really helps give people an idea of what you're capable of, what you do. So identifying like a personal project that could be within your niche or completely outside of your niche, and pursuing it wholeheartedly and fully committed to it can really help people identify with your style, your brand, what you're passionate about, and it's a good way to kind of get your name out there.
Yeah, that's good feedback.
So when it comes to your people live, etc., like I don't say throw it away because you don't have otherwise then you just have people.
Yeah.
And those aren't segmented into different categories. It's nice to kind of see like a little bit of variety. Which people are. So if you can break down the people into different categories like black and white, color, anything like that, that can help. But if not, then I would maybe keep what you got until maybe you decide on a personal project or something with a little more direction.
Okay.
Does that help?
That's it. That's all.
Awesome. All right, Peter, I'm going to mute you here.
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, I don't have a great connection here, so I might disappear or come in and out. In fact, I don't even have a chair to sit on because I just moved into this apartment, so I'm kind of hovering over the computer. Yeah, I was going with what Cameron was talking about, and I think this is an issue for me as well, is learning how to deal with models or humans in general and talk with them. A couple of weekends ago, I went to Fifth Avenue Studios. There's a meetup called the Image Makers that's run by this model who calls herself Rebel, and she was telling me that she plans maybe in a month or two to try and put together a sort of workshop for photographers. Might be something to look into. If anyone can hear me.
Yeah. What yeah, I can hear you. What was the name of the person that hosted it?
She calls herself Rebel. I think her name's Christy. But there's a meetup called the Image Makers. So there's a lot of kind of like nude models and that kind of thing. But she seems.
I was going to say, be careful where you Google her.
Well, she seems nice. She's kind of savvy and trying to build a business there. Yeah. And some of these meetups are a bit peculiar, I admit.
They most certainly are.
Yeah. But that was quite a good one. I don't have a lot of questions. I've kind of been rushing around in circles, moving houses and things. I was thinking along the lines of adventure photography. So I'm kind of fine art and landscape and nature photography, but I'm also interested in photographing people. And I was thinking that that might be a good direction to explore. I don't know if you have any feelings about that kind of direction.
Kind of mixing them into the same types of shots, or doing them completely independent of each other?
Sorry, say again. My connection's bad.
Are you trying to incorporate people into fine art and landscape stuff, or are you trying to have
I'm
like
thinking more about like adventure sports, like kayaking, climbing, this kind of thing.
Ah, gotcha. So kind of getting into that space in particular,
Yeah.
or okay.
Yeah. How best to do that?
That one, unfortunately, I've met people that get into that, and usually they never make any money. The people that I know that get into action photography are either, kind of extreme sports, that kind of thing. They're usually in it. They're usually like an action sports person. And
right.
They kind of they have a passion for both. They're basically combining both. I don't know how to video cut me now. They usually have a passion for both, and they basically combine the two, and they usually stick, like, there's a person that loves rock climbing and happens to be really good at photography, or something along those lines, and they become known as like the rock climbing photographer. And that one's tough because the business model behind it is selling your images and licensing your images, I should say, for advertisements and commercial work. Now, granted, you can be hired or commissioned, I should say, to shoot certain things, but then again, it's difficult to find yourself in those environments, and you gotta be capable of getting in the environments that are going to create the kind of shot that you're looking for.
Right.
And building a portfolio that resembles that kind of work is what you would have to pursue in order to entice someone into hiring you for your capabilities. So, like that's why I kind of say people are usually already involved. So like a great snowboarding photographer is probably really good at snowboarding,
Right.
and is already going on trips, is already going to be doing these things. So it's not like they're having to fork out extra cash to build a portfolio. They're already surrounded by people that are great snowboarders and things like that, and they can get great shots.
Right.
So it's
kind of very specialized. Yeah.
It's very specialized, and it's not something that's you can just kind of go out and do. It's definitely feasible if you have, time and money and the resources to get out there and shoot that kind of stuff and get into it. It's going to take you a long time. It's something that you're going to do 3 to 5 years of portfolio building, kind of side jobs here and there, and meeting the people that are going to open those doors for you, and then getting in the door and actually executing on those shots. And there's people of all different types getting into that kind of stuff, and it's because they put their life into it. They invest their life into getting into that, and they make it their life's work. Some people are career changers. Some people started when they first got their first camera type stuff. So it's all over the map. So it's definitely feasible. And in terms of getting in the door, it's like finding action sports companies, like usually small businesses, people that are startups, people that don't have a lot of money, and working for them for free or for very inexpensive, and basically saying like, hey, I would love to shoot all your photos. You don't have to pay for me for anything. I'll do the first 10 shoots or whatever for free, just to build my portfolio and build my trust with you. And then you become like their go-to guy for photography. So when they actually do start making money, they'll hopefully start paying you, but that usually never happens. It's usually you build your portfolio with that company, and then you use that portfolio to go get actual paying clients. So my advice to you in this situation is, if this is what you want to pursue, you've got to be 100% committed, and you've got to get into the businesses that offer that kind of work. And you want to find startups or people that don't have a budget, that want anything for cheap or for free, and use them as your opportunity to build your portfolio.
Yeah, I'm just exploring possibilities, and I guess maybe not necessarily extreme sports. I mean, that's sort of difficult to do. Maybe people involved, people doing the things they like, whether that be people running or sort of people's lifestyles. I think people like to have portraits of people that they enjoy. I think that too. That's probably more accessible.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
In that case, then you find people that are just doing interesting things, and in terms of portfolio building, you just offer saying, hey, would you like some pretty badass shots of you, like going and doing whatever it is you love to do, and I document it for you. Like, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. And you can get people get pretty excited about just wanting to get a photo shoot of them, have photos taken of them, and you're just using it as an opportunity to build the portfolio.
What else? Yeah, I don't really have a lot of questions today, I'm afraid.
Well, yeah, you have your hands full.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to see if anyone else is going to join us. We don't have much activity tonight. Chanel's on, but I don't see anything from her. Give her a second or two to respond. I think you guys are the only viewers that I have at this point.
A completely separate topic. Jason, evidently you were my biggest fan on Facebook recently.
Oh, I liked your page.
and a couple of posts, and I'm like, man, I look like I have only one friend in the entire world, and his name is Jason.
Well, I liked it. So, well, I'm glad you noticed.
Yeah, well, when you're only getting a couple likes per post, it's pretty easy to notice.
Fair enough.
So.
Yeah, I always try to keep up the tabs on all my students' Facebook pages when they're adding stuff and stuff like that, so I can kind of see the newest things that they're doing and be able to see if they're staying on track, going in different directions, getting better, that kind of stuff. Makes for fun.
So that's actually a decent question. It kind of goes back to something we were talking about before with my website. So I just, I think it was a couple days ago, I put up a gallery of pictures I took in Bodie, California, as ghost town. I, processed them, liked them, put them up on my Facebook page. Would you say that that's something that I should avoid doing because it kind of dilutes, what my end goal is, or is that something where it's more important to be putting up new content on a regular basis? So if you have it, post it.
So basically, the Bodie, California shot. So
yeah.
So there's nothing wrong. All right. So I see what you're saying. Like, do you either do highly focused or more regular active content? Well, at the point that you're at right now, you only have what was it? 119 likes.
Yeah.
So when you probably look at a post, there's probably what 10, 15 people that see it.
Yeah, my last one had 35. The one before that was 71, 63, 339.
That's actually decent.
356. Though any of the content where I can be able to tag other people in it.
Oh yeah, that always goes better.
That usually helps. But some of these models, they don't want to be my friends, evidently, so I can't tag them.
No, you're not able to tag people from a Facebook page.
No, but if I go to my Facebook page as myself, I can tag people.
That is true. So, I personally think it's in this situation when starting out, it's better to post more. Mm-hmm. You haven't identified yourself as Cameron is the person for this. You are an up-and-coming person. You are exploring different types. You are experimenting. And the more content you create and the more people that see it, the better. And just people recognizing you as a photographer is the most important thing. Mm-hmm. And then once they kind of identify you as a photographer, then they'll start diving deeper into what you do and looking into things. So whatever can get people's attention. If it's good photos that you feel comfortable and confident in promoting, mm-hmm. Excuse me, I encourage it. Every now and then, I don't put my personal stuff usually on my Facebook because for the red light photography, it's not as active as it used to be. But mm-hmm. we have 4,100 likes, and most of those tend to be students, in addition to corporate clients. So putting out content that is irrelevant to them and not beneficial to them doesn't make a lot of sense. And also, I can't post a lot of my own work because it's personal, corporate. I shot a corporate picnic party with mm-hmm. kids and families. I can't post that. It's families of people that I don't have relationships with personally, and they go see their kids are blasted on the internet. They're gonna be like, whoa, what's going on? Yeah. So I'm very limited in terms of what I can post, and that's why I usually post educational content for photographers on local photo classes and things of that sort, because that's a value to those people that follow us. So when it comes to your audience, just what do they want to see? And starting out, people just want to see your work. They just want to see your photography. They want to be inspired by it. They want to wish they had your life being a professional photographer. That's usually always the response. I go to networking meetings with like salespeople and other things like, "Oh, you're a photographer? I bet you all you do is just travel the world."
You should just keep perpetuating the myth. Just be like, "Yep, that is exactly what I do."
Oh, I totally do. Like, yeah, I took off 6 months last year and 5 months the year before. Yeah, that's about right. Lucky.
Yeah.
Salt
in the wounds.
I know, right? But I encourage you to do it. Find things that are interested you. And I'm seeing a lot of this high contrast, black and white type style. Like, I'm seeing that pretty consistent across a couple different types of shots that you've taken. So, you might be gravitating towards that, and there'd be people that appreciate that kind of style. And when you start seeing people like the same person, other than myself, of course, liking particular images that are relatively similar, don't be afraid to reach out to them and say, "Hey, I noticed you like some of my images. Just kind of curious, why do you like them?" Just start a conversation. You're not going to ask them to buy anything, obviously, but like, "Hey, do you like my picture? Want to buy it?" But just having a conversation with them and saying, "Hey, what do you like about my photography? Do you know anyone that'd be interested in hiring me, or anything like that?" And you just strike up a conversation. That's really what social media is for: is engagement and conversations.
Mm-hmm.
The more content you put up, the more opportunity for conversations you create.
That's kind of where I felt like things were right now, but I was kind of having a internal kind of like good angel, devil kind of personal in my head conversation, like more content versus focused content. So.
And when you have a very clear, identified brand, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, looks like Erica joined us.
Hi.
Hello. Looks like you have a book full of notes out there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. I'm a dork.
No, it's the one that takes the notes, and good notes is the one that usually remembers everything. So, any questions?
So I just went through the second module, and I'm working on my contacts for who I'm going to shoot. I'm just, for anybody else who's on this, I'm not an experienced photographer at all, so I'm just starting out. So I think I want to focus on relationship and event, but what are your recommendations with trying to get some event shoots for my portfolio? Any networking or inside scoop I can reach out to? I have some friends, like a maternity shoot or a bridal shower event, things like that, where friends are willing to say, "Hey, go ahead." But for event, I just don't know how to build my portfolio for that.
Well, it's not too difficult. So you have a couple options. There's this really cool website called Toggly.com.
I'm coming on today.
Perfect. So I'll give you a scope on how that works for you. Wow, my lighting just got like 1,000 times bigger. So with that, there's quite a few options you have for getting event gigs. Let's just put it this way. I don't want to say this is the easiest option, but one of the easier option is reaching out to nonprofit organizations. Nonprofits throw out events all the time, and you can look at public calendars, so like Balboa Park, all these kind of like major like public venues. See what big events are going on in those areas. You can look at the public events calendar, see what's available, what's going on, and then just hit up the organizations that's hosting the event. Say, "Hey, can I shoot your event for free? I'll give you all the images. I'm just doing this for my portfolio. I want to get you guys great images, do a great job, and add a lot of value to your event." Absolutely free. It's like, done deal. As long as I don't have a contract with someone else saying there can't be another photographer, usually you can do that kind of stuff. The one thing I'm not a huge fan of is like just public events. Like, you kind of can do it. Basically, by being in a public arena and a public event, you can go and like shoot like if there's something going on in downtown. I don't know. There's something typically going on downtown Little Italy, street fairs and stuff like that. You can practice those kind of shots and pass out your business card and say, hey, if you collect people's email addresses and say, hey, I'll send you an image of I'll send you an email with some of the photos that I took, give them to you for free, that kind of stuff. So you can go to like public events and just pass out business cards and collect email addresses from people to build your list of people, and you can use those photos from those events as a way to kind of get started and, more importantly, practice. A lot of the stuff might not be portfolio worthy, but it will teach you a lot. You'll practice a lot. You'll be forced to sell yourself and engage with complete strangers, which is really important for my photography. So you're looking at like nonprofit associations and looking at kind of public events as a way to get started. And where are you located? Where do you live?
I'm up in Carlsbad, like North Encinitas, South Carlsbad.
I'm sure there's all kinds of like farmers markets and different groups and stuff like that get together, like different networking events or anything along those lines that people come together for whatever reason. I'm sure there's maybe like little fairs or little parades and stuff like that occur in Carlsbad or in Encinitas, any kind of town like that, and you can volunteer your services if there's a main point of contact. And if you are showing it to a public event, just make sure you pass out your information, but more importantly, collect other people's information. So you need a good way to collect people's information, whether it's like via your phone and you're just jotting down like on a notepad, like a notes app or something like that, and take those names and emails. Or you're not really going to collect business cards very often because people usually don't show up to those places with business cards, and a lot of people don't have business cards. So you need a way to capture their information. The reason why you want to capture theirs as opposed to just give them your information is because they're not going to follow up with you. But if you get their information, you can market to them. You can send them emails. You can send them the photos. You can do all this kind of stuff to stay in touch. Whereas if you just hand out your business card to 100 people at an event, maybe like 2 people would actually contact you back saying, oh, can you get those photos? But if you get their information, you can probably get a better return ratio. Out of 100 people, you might be able to start a conversation with 10 or 20 of them.
Okay. Great. Thanks.
Yeah, cool. Any other questions, guys? Oh, come on. That's it? That's easy. Oh, Chanel has a question. All right. She has 3 shoots. I'm planning to build some portfolio work along the lines of ComicCon and costumes. Okay. We can get a little bit more information than that. So I don't know what she's trying to say, but I know she's trying to get prepared for ComicCon. Actually, I know 2 people in particular that might want some photos for ComicCon if you're trying to do some portfolio work. I have, if this is for Chanel. She's not in live with us, but I think she's watching the video. For the purposes of building up a portfolio of ComicCon and the whole cosplay world, there's posting on Craigslist. There's a couple other ways to kind of get the word out. I think basically trying to like schedule because there's one thing to like show up downtown with a camera and taking pictures of people, which will work. People are all about getting in front of the camera when they're all dressed up and everything, and they'll just eat it up. And then make sure, again, like I was telling Erica, collect their information so that you can contact them. And then, but a good way to really kind of maximize your opportunities is, you can post on Craigslist. You can look if anyone else has posted on Craigslist. Unfortunately, Toggly does not have the exposure yet to get gigs for ComicCon, but there's other avenues to just kind of see if you can pre-schedule anything. If you know anyone that's going to ComicCon personally and they're going to get all dressed up, contact them prior to them going and say, hey, would you like to schedule a time to go do a shoot in Seaport Village or somewhere along those lines? and that way you have a schedule and you can kind of plan it, and that way you get to spend a little more time on them. Because the people that are going to be walking around the streets that have the best costumes are going to have other photographers, shooting. There's going to be hundreds, if not thousands, of photographers roaming the streets of San Diego, doing just what you want to do as well, Chanel. So you need to see if there's a way to contact some of these people and say, hey, like, I really love your outfit, your costume or whatever. Like, I would love to just spend 20 minutes with you on the back of the Hyatt Hotel or something, and then shoot your photos, and then I'll give you all the images for free. Like, when is a good time for you, type thing. And that's a great way to get their attention. They'll be like, wow, that's different. That's something, I get something a little more customized. I get to wear my awesome costume that I spent tons of money and time on, and they could really, really appreciate that. So you get an opportunity to build your portfolio. You get to offer some awesome value, and really engage them and be able to get some good images. So, and you get to spend more time with them, and you don't have to fight around other photographers. That's kind of the key point of this is, depending on where you're at and what time, there could be a ton of photographers all taking the same shot, and you're going to be the other one of the, hey, look over me, look at me, take a picture, and and then I do one of these like, hey, and then that's your shot, and you're not going to get too many other opportunities. But if you walk up to them and say, hey, I would like to do a private shoot with you, absolutely for free, we can do it at this time over here, and they say no. No one loses, no harm, no foul. But if they say yes, you get an opportunity to build your portfolio. So I hope that answers your question. Okay. Ooh, okay, so she added a little more details. My shoot will be a three-shot story for each model. I'm going to do a three-shot story in line for families to meet up there. Oh, she's already got it all set up. Perfect. She has behind-the-scene access. Oh, dude, she's going to crush it. That's great. So it seems like you have all of it figured out. So with that said, if you have a question, more than happy to answer for you. Anyone else have any other questions?
I have another question.
Yes.
With the local photo classes, what do you recommend to take to really start to better the practice of event photography? Like, I'm taking a portrait class this week. I've done 101, 102. I've looked into other classes, but what do you really think to focus on in order to get better about event photography in general?
The flash photography class is this weekend. We're launching the low-light photography class next month, and that's another one. So yeah, the low-light photography. I'm launching the controlling action and motion in September. I'll go on. What else we have? The night photography class is another good one. Just dealing with low-light environments in general. And let's see this in here. Lightroom class just for the editing and post-production. That's really important. And I think that one's this weekend as well. And, yeah, those would be ones I would start with. And we're adding more classes as we go. So to kind of get some more practice in that area, those would be the classes that I would recommend at this point.
Okay, thanks.
And don't be afraid to take classes multiple times. It doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, guys. Any other questions?
Doing the first module, you threw out six-figure income pretty regularly. I understand that there's a bit of a hook there because you're trying to get people onto Unit 2, Unit 3, into the classes and things like that. But so two-part question. One, when you're talking about your own personal income, are you talking about before or after taxes? And then secondly, what is a more realistic ramp for somebody that's making $0 as a professional but aspiring very strongly in terms of potential income trajectory? with the caveat that obviously you get as much out of it as you put into it, and all those kinds of other sayings.
Well, just to jump right into that part right there, where you say you get what you put in. Well, there's a little bit of an asterisk next to you get what you put into it. And what I mean by that is I know a lot of photographers that are extremely talented that put all their heart into the photography aspect. And not to say that they only do that, but like some do like the business side too, but they don't ever focus on the right type of client that meshes well with what they have to offer. And usually the people that have the most success in photography, making an income that is worth it to them. So, yes, six-figure income and, making over $100,000 a year, or even making 50 grand a year. And some people I know are happy making 20 grand a year from their business. It just comes down to defining what is it that you really want. Like, how much money do you feel is worth your time doing all this and makes it all worth it? And there's some photographers that just love what they do, and if they're able to make a few bucks, they're happy. And some people are like, I want to make a shit ton of money. So the people that want to make a lot of money, or somewhere in between, the people that are able to achieve those results spend usually about anywhere between 80 to 60% of their time on their business, marketing and sales. And that's where I spend most of my time, is the marketing and sales side of my business, and that's what we do. And the photographer, now there are photographers that do make good money that don't spend a lot of time marketing and sales. Those people are very well connected, very well rooted into their niche and into their industry, and are very established to where they just have word of mouth, and they have a lot of their business coming through word of mouth. But what they always forget to tell you is how they got started. And how they got started was pretty much either one of two options on the commercial side, kind of more higher end photography, is they apprenticed under a big name, and that big name retired. That's usually a very great way to kind of catapult your career. But unfortunately, when they're working for that photographer, XYZ photographer, they made shit for years until that person retired, or until they're able to be good enough to venture on their own and to make connections in that time, and I have a different style or a different approach than the person that they were working for. So that's one way. The other way is literally like more people in your position, Cameron, someone that did not go to the Brooks Institute of Photography or the Art Institute and have. I mean, that's the funny thing. It's only like 2% of those people actually graduate actually have the connections to go anywhere. But when you don't have those kind of connections, it's really got to be clear as to what you want to be your best at and who can benefit the most from that. And identifying those two things will really clearly help you make as much money as possible. And deciding on, of course, your pricing model and all that kind of stuff. So it's really hard to say like how much money can you make. Well, really there is no limit on how much money you can make from building your own business. I know photographers that do $1 million a year. Granted, that's not their income after taxes, but they have $1 million business doing photography. That's usually commercial photographers that have dealing with ad agencies with $50,000, $100,000 budgets to do a shoot. We have a couple shoots that come into our studio that they spend like 30 grand, 40 grand, and like the rent they paid for our studio was like the smallest expense they had. And then I have people that are like scraping pennies off the floor to pay the rent for the studio. So it's all different ranges. But when it comes to income, it just depends on how good you are getting the word out around about yourself. And I know photographers that their work is crap, in my opinion. Crap's maybe a harsh word. Photos that I don't think are very good, in my opinion, and they make a ton of money. It's because they know who their client is, They know what they're offering that client, and they can deliver to those expectations. So, I know there's wedding photographers out there that charge, $1,500, $2,000 a wedding. That's not too much money, but they'll shoot 40 weddings in a year, 30, 40 weddings. And they just fill up their books by kind of having a lower price point and, delivering to the expectations of that price point. And they do like more of a volume thing, and they make 80 grand in a year. And, after expenses and stuff like that, regular maintenance, they can walk away, about between $40,000 and $50,000 in taxable income. So, and that's decent wage doing what you love, and we're working essentially 30, 40 weekends a year. So, I don't know if I'm answering your question directly, but in terms of giving you like a roadmap, like I went from making $1,400 in my first year, then to I think I did like 8,000, and then I started taking things a little more seriously and got it up to 30,000 doing part-time. I was working a full-time job and doing photography on the side, and I did 30,000. I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. I felt like I was on top of the world. And then I did 150,000 the next year, and then that was when I went full-time. And I was basically working 60 hours a week at my company I was working full-time for, and I was working about 20, 30 hours a week on my photography business. So I was working like 90-hour weeks. And it was when I was like, I could make a lot more money doing what I love as opposed to doing this job, and I quit halfway through the year, about 3-4 months into the year, and was able to skyrocket my business because I put that's all I did. All I focused on was bringing in, new clients. I was just starting the classes and getting the classes. I moved into this space in Little Italy, and was just trying to really make something of myself. And I took big chances, big risks. Taking on a $1,400 a month lease for a year was a big commitment, but it was the fire under my ass that was like, oh shit, like this is it. I gotta deliver. And and for me, I found a couple of interesting approaches. Like I just really connect well with corporate people. I was doing sales and marketing for companies selling $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 contracts, and I was just good at speaking to corporate clients. I know what their frustration points are. I know what it's like to be in their shoes and stuff like that, so I'm able to relate to them. So when they call us and talk to me, they just like, wow, you get us. Like, you know exactly what we're talking about, what we're looking for. And, we have very competitive rates. We're not the cheapest in town, but we're not the most expensive. So, we just got a contract for just a shoot for like $600, nothing special. When another photographer was charging $900. And the photographer, all they did was send just a quote. That's all they sent. They didn't ask any questions, didn't ask anything, didn't do anything. They just, client said, we need a photographer for 3 hours this week or whatever, and they just quote back $900. Whereas, they marked it up because it was ComicCon and stuff like that, probably is why they marked it $300 an hour. But we always keep our prices consistent. We never price discriminate in any way. And, we were able to get their business also because we took the time to talk to them and build a rapport with them. So, customer service has a big part in marketing and, building that rapport and getting those contracts. So, I don't know, did I answer your question?
I think it answered a lot of questions, not particularly mine, but I think it gives me a lot of good information to chew on. I think where I'm at, I'm just trying to meter and set expectations for what my next 6 months, year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, what that's going to look like.
Well, and what you do is you have to make up what you want. And it is really pulling a number out of your ass and saying, I want that number. And how to make it a little easier to pull that number out is define, what do you need to survive? Okay? Like, what's the bare minimum you need to survive at? And basically, if it's $10,000 in the next year that you need to make to not lose your house or start living on the streets, then you put $10,000 as what we call the threshold goal. Okay, so you have to scrape and claw until you get to that 10,000. All right, and then you want to set what's a decent number that's respectable for a photographer starting out that is above my threshold, and I can make a few bucks of profit. Well, going after, let's say, 20,000, 25,000. Say that's your kind of target goal. In an ideal goal, if you made $35,000 in your first year, you'd be like jumping up and down doing backflips. I'm making up these numbers, and you have to really and how you pull this out is you have to understand how much money do you really want to make, and what's right for your lifestyle, and what is something that you feel is attainable, and that's probably where you struggle is like what is attainable, and how you find that number is you basically you have to start with a goal. Okay, so you can start with your threshold, your target, or your stretch goal. You can start with either one of those. Usually it's good to either start with your target goal so you can find something that's attainable, or shoot for the stars and go for your stretch goal. So let's say it's 30 grand. That's your like ultimate, I'm kicking ass my first year goal. And so you have to look at how many shoots at what price does it take to get to that 30,000. So are you going to do 30 shoots at $1,000 each, or are you going to be closer to 60 shoots at $500 each? Well, to be completely honest, booking 50 shoots is gonna be a tough one. I mean, yeah, 60 shoots. Booking 60 shoots is going to be hard to do, and at an average of $500, yeah, $500 makes it a little cheaper and everything, but you have to think like, okay, how can I be worthy of $1,000 or more per transaction, per job? What kind of work can I be doing to deliver that kind of value and find the right client that can pay for it? So you now know, okay, I want to see if I can make $1,000 on average per job. You might have some jobs that you make 5,000. You might have some jobs you make 200. So averaging at like $1,000 or whatever. So you want to reach $1,000 a shoot. So what you then have to do is find out who needs photography and can afford $1,000 a shoot, and what do they get for that $1,000? And you just play this game backwards. You just keep diving deeper and deeper, and you've identified your target market, your client. That's what you do, your personas in course 3. You try to like really define them the best you can, and you find out where they hang out. You find out who you're already connected to. You find out how you can offer them value. You find out how you can really intrigue them. And the ideal client is the person that needs a photographer for $1,000 per shoot 10 times a year. Again, it's the golden goose. It's not the easiest thing to find, but when you find it, you struck gold. Or it's finding a partner that can refer you that kind of business. Is there like I just had a meeting with a marketing company that this is for lunch, and we totally hit it off very well. They pull in maybe about maybe 2-3 shoots a month where they could use a photographer, and they just haven't felt comfortable with the current people they've been going with, and they wanted to talk with me to learn about my services and what I can do. And I built rapport with them. We talked maybe business 10 minutes out of an hour-and-a-half meeting. We talked specifics about how we can work together, and the whole other time was just relating back and forth of who we know together, and just like shooting the shit and what she does for fun and all this kind of stuff, and just building a relationship with her, so it's harder for her to say no to me because she likes me. So identifying those kind of clients is something that's really, really important to do. And once you've kind of set your goal of the money you want to make, you break it down by how many shoots you think you can get hired for and deliver on in a certain period of time. Because if say you're doing 30 shoots, $1,000 each, you're doing 2 like 3 shoots, 4 shoots a month, maybe, to make that $30,000. And then, the next year you're going for 60,000, and the next year you're going for 90,000, or whatever it is. You just have to set those goals. It is what you want, and if you visualize that number of what you want to accomplish and what you want to go after, it makes it so much easier to make it happen. And you have to be fully committed on achieving that number to make that number happen.
What kind of a reaction have you received from recurring clients when you raise rates kind of on a year-over-year basis?
I haven't really raised my rates in a while, and the reason being is we're at a pretty competitive rate where we're either just below or just above kind of what people expect, and I like staying there, and I don't really need to raise our rates. So I haven't had that issue too often, and usually I don't work with people that hired me back in the day for less. They usually, their budgets don't grow, and as much as they love you and as much as they would love to work with you, they don't always have the ability to afford you. So you can make the decision to keep working for the rate that you hook them up with, or go up with like a marginal increase like 5–10%. But here's how you really do this, is you don't just say, hey guys, I know you hired me for $200 last week, but now it's $400. You never say it like that. It's, hey company or hey person, I've invested in some higher-end gear. I'm able to deliver much better photos for you guys. I'm able to do this, and this. And I'm going to be able to give you guys more photos, or going to be able to give you guys better photos, or anything along that line, like adding value, speaking from what they need to hear to justify the expense. And you start off saying, like, you guys caught me early in my career. I'm sure you guys have seen the photos improving. I know I was charging you guys $200. My rate that I'm charging new clients is $500. But since you guys were working with me before, I'm going to give you the value of that $500 work that I'm charging other people, and I'll do it for $300 the next shoot we do. And not a much, it's not a huge increase. It's not the full $500. And if you guys see the massive difference in my work and what I'm delivering from when I was charging you $200 to now when I'm at $500, then we can talk about maybe just working out like a little bit of a discount off of the $500. That way they still feel they're getting a deal, that you understand that they hooked you up in the beginning, you're respecting both sides, but you're justifying your value. You're not just saying, hey guys, I've raised my rates, suck it up and pay it. You're saying, hey, here's how I'm going to make everything better for you guys. Here's how I'm going to deliver you more value. Here's how I'm going to make your experience better. Here's how I'm going to make your photos better. And I need to make ends meet. Well, actually, you never say I need to make ends meet. That's like the worst thing you could ever say. It's like the dumbest thing ever. I need to pay rent. Like, that doesn't make. I don't care if you need to pay rent. That's your problem. But what it comes down to is, like, I'm going to offer you more value, and because I'm offering more value, other people are paying me $500 per shoot, and if you guys are not willing to pay that, I'm willing to give you guys a discount. Do it for like $400 on the $300 on the first shoot, $400 on the next shoot, and then if we have to figure out from there, because if I have clients paying me $500 and they need me, I'm going to go with them, and I'm going to fill up my schedule with them, and I don't want to leave you guys behind, so I want to give you guys an opportunity just to work with me, but I also want to be transparent that my price is increasing because I'm better and I'm delivering better value. So you approach it that way, and usually it's a logical, objective decision at that point. And they either decide, wow, we really see the value, or wow, we really see the value, but we just can't afford it. And if they say they can't afford it, then you just move on.
All right, thanks. I'm going to stop bogarting the conversation now.
That's fine. Anyone else have questions? As it gets creepily dark in my video. Nope. No. Pure silence? All right. Well, if that's the case, I'll check back for comments. I don't know if Chanel said anything. Nope. All right, right, guys. I hope you learned something today. Hope you had some fun coming out. It was great having an audience to talk to. This video is recorded, so you can just always go back to our YouTube page. It's under Local Photo Classes, so you can check it out on Local Photo Classes, and you can reference back to it at any point in time.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank
All right,
you.
no problem, guys. Have a great day.
You too.
Or night, I should say.